Hola, bon dia, Carl Munson here with the good... Oh, look, in the background, it's the wrong screen. Let me just sort that out. This is the good morning Portugal, not the good evening Portugal. It's getting too complicated, isn't it? There we go. I'll just change it. There you go. Excellent. The good morning Portugal live stream, YouTube channel and podcast. Great to have your company this morning. Yes, I'm really on it. Today, yes, a paragon of efficiency. Truth is, we had a great Good Evening Portugal show last night talking about Rui Pinto, the guy behind Football Leaks, whose trial is on in Lisbon at the moment. And he's like the Julian Assange of Portugal. And we drifted into all sorts of other subjects, including a rather fun quiz, a psychological profiler that we came up with on the phone-in chat show thing that we do on a Tuesday evening. It's our news hour. So I'd like to share that with you. A bit tongue-in-cheek. You know, it's what we've described it as is the Good Evening Portugal psychological profiler. Are you a good or a bad person? Find out now with this handy quiz. Obviously, we're not judgmental. It's just a bit of fun, but it asks such questions as: are you a butter or Marge person? Who was the best Beatle, John or Paul? Which is the best mustard, French or English? And which is the best drink, tea or coffee? Questions like that with a surprising twist at the end. So let me just pop that in the comments right now if you want to do that as a bit of fun while we are together this morning. And tempting to keep... The show has been drifting into 40 and 45 minutes. Ideally, I would love to keep it down to about 30 because I know you have other things to do. We all have other things to do, but it's often so much fun hanging out together in the morning. So if you're new to this, good morning to you and welcome. Who are you? Where are you? What brings you here? If you dare to say, and good morning to all the regulars as well, including Wayne here. Hola from a grey Tamworth. Yes, I bet you can't wait to be here, Wayne, on a morning like that in Tamworth, on the M5, I believe, or not far, in Great Britain there, and you're back to 6 people social confinement. No, that's not the right phrase, is it? But gatherings of more than 6 people are now forbidden again in the UK. The big cheeses of the COVID committee in Portugal met yesterday, and we are awaiting new directives from the Portuguese government as well, and I'll try and keep you abreast of that, do my best. But yeah, I was all over the place this morning because I just suddenly realized, I've got to get the show together, and I was just pottering about looking at all sorts of things, public holidays in Portugal and Portugal, the continuing adventures of discovering the many breads of Portugal. So we will continue with that with part 2. I think it could go into a 5-parter. We might be looking at bread all week. So do let me know what your favorite bread is. Paul already answering that question. Hola, bon dia from a bright Southampton. My preferred bread is pão de aldeia from Continent. So there you go. Look at that. That would be the village bread, aldeia village, of course. And do you know what? I'm going to make that our palavra do dia. Thank you for that, because in my the vento yesterday, which of course was wind, and I'm going to make aldeia the word of the day today, and let me just pop that in there now, and then we'll just drift that in front of you so it drops into your subconscious as we are slowly building our Portuguese vocabulary. Thank you for that, Paul. There it is, palavra do dia, aldeia. Meaning village, but that's also his favorite kind of bread. Do let me know. Let's continue with the bread theme. What better place to lock down than Tavira all day long? Says Pauline. Good morning, Pauline. I believe a new name to the screen here, so welcome to you. Yes, not a bad shout, that. Good morning. Lorraine, good morning to you. Another new name, I believe. Good morning from London, off to Portugal via Brittany Ferries and Spain. Awesome. So Plymouth Santander, presumably, and somebody, I was answering a question about that on the on one of the many social media groups that I belong to. Should I go via Santander or should I drive through France, was the question, and we had a great time. I had to say we had a great time. Plymouth Santander overnight, kids loved it, still talk about it to this day. 3 days later, when are we going on the ferry again? So that would be my recommendation. So happy sailing to you, Lorraine, from London to Spain. Is that today? Wow, okay. Yeah, bon voyage to you, bon voyage. to you. I'm losing messages here. They're coming in thick and fast this morning, just like I like my tirada, thick and fast. See what I did there? Hola, bon dia from an unpredictable Tinmouth. Weather-wise or politics there, Sunny? Good morning to you. Hola, bon dia from Owen. You can hear Owen singing the blues. Or Blue Moon, I should say. Yeah, I've got to be careful with that, haven't you, with football songs. Blue Moon, his little rendition, 12 seconds of it on the Expat Sport Report. Join us on Friday for that. We'll be talking about the many new away strips that seem to be causing much consternation and scandal among football fans. I mean, you only got to look at that Man City one, of course, which we keep going on about, but we just can't rid it from our mind's eye. So yeah, join us for the Expat Sport Report, where, of course, yeah, part of the news today in Portugal is that Ronaldo, Cristiano, we should call him, shouldn't we, rather than Ronaldo. He's known affectionately by everyone in Portugal as Cristiano. He has scored his 100th Portugal goal. So congratulations. He has Ali Daei to beat of Iran. And I think it's fair to say Cristiano Ronaldo is better known around the world. But actually, the man who scored the most goals at 109 is Ali Daei. Of the Iran international squad. So yes, just another 9 goals to go, Cristiano, to beat that world record. Okay, a few more of your comments then. Morning from Castanheira de Pera. This morning we had our favourite pão de forma com sementes for brekkie. Okay, so that's pão de forma is the closest, I think, to resemble the square loaf, which I think you said yesterday, Pete, didn't you, that it's sometimes called the VW camper because of its square shape, and you could ice it to make it look like a camper van. And you've had the pão de forma with seeds. There's another word of the day, sementes, S-E-M-E-N-T-E-S, for those of you on the podcast, sementes, which that does sound like cement, doesn't it? Bread with cement. Sometimes it does feel like that. Thank you, Pete, for that update and your favourite bread. Hola, bon dia todos. We have, see, even though they're in Manchester, they speak Portuguese. I love these guys, Claire and Steve. We have a sunny, bright start in Manchester. Sure, it won't last. Brilliant. Pauline, Stepney, what? Yes, we've done that one, haven't we? But it's worth doing again. You're being locked down in Tavira. Worst things can happen to a person. Thank you, Pauline. Filomena, good morning to you. Hola, bon dia. O meu preferida e a broa. And she is a Portuguese teacher. If you want one-to-one sessions, look no further than Filomena, based in the Corvo de Miranda area, so central Portugal anyway. And she likes the cornbread that we spoke about yesterday, the broa. This is going very well. This, you know, people love bread, don't they? Portuguese definitely love bread. People love bread generally, apart from the gluten intolerant, but they still love it. They just can't eat it. Bon dia, my dear, from Sean Maguire. Good morning to you, Sean. Santander all day. Answering that question, should I drive through France or come through Spain? Santander all day, says Lorraine, in agreement with me. Not today, though, at the end of September. Not like you're counting down or anything. So, yeah, if that stands, my bon voyage to you at the end of September there, Lorraine. If you're coming this way, call in for a coffee. I assume that when we have comments that I do not see, it's because they're on the Expats Portugal page. Well, I need to do something about that. I thought all of the comments were happening, Expats Portugal or the Good Morning Portugal pages. So I'm really not sure what the answer is to that, Paul. I'll continue to look into it as we evolve and improve this service, but pretty much a one-man band. So I'm sure I'll get around to that at some point, but I don't know the answer to that question. Other technically minded people may know the answer to that in a way that I don't. Combing the comments here. Got to get around to the weather, guys. But I'm not complaining about you commenting. Love it. I love the feedback. And we had some brilliant feedback on email about Jimmy Chu and some possible merchandise to do with that young rascal. He is, of course, the Good Morning Portugal puppy, Jimmy Chu. He's in here somewhere. Oh, he's spark out. We've been down the field, been down the bottom of the field this morning. Pau forma escura. Papagalo gosto isso. Papagayo, sorry, papagalo could be something else that I've said indiscreetly. Pau forma escura. Let's have a little bit more of translation on that to help me and probably others, Ty. But I'm seeing the pau forma remains popular among those of British extraction, probably because of its familiar and comforting shape. And it's a lot like, I suppose it's the closest to a Brit bread, isn't it? The pau de forma. Thank you, Ty, for sharing. Hola, bon dia from sunny Southsea, from Mark Rigby. There's also a ferry route from here in Portsmouth. Oh, okay, so people are doing Portsmouth to Santander as well. And then the question remains, you know, day or evening. And how do you prepare yourself if it does get a bit rough in the Bay of Biscay? That's what this guy who was asking the question was worried about. I think he was talking about being on the white telephone to God for most of the journey. So yeah, how do you deal with seasickness if you suffer from such things? Wasn't an issue for us. Really was fantastic. All that was good about a life on the ocean wave was our experience, and really enjoyed that. So I would recommend it. So yeah, clearly Plymouth or Portsmouth to Santander is being loved by many. Hello, Sunny from Portugal. I was in Teignmouth last year for the Teen Maritime and Shanty Festival. I want to break into a bit of shanty there. Amazing music and location. It is looking across to beautiful Shoulden as well. The aforementioned Owen, who you can hear singing Blue Moon on our Expat Sport Report page. The skies are always blue in Manchester. He doesn't miss an opportunity. And the moon, Owen. Listen to that lot talking about their favourite beloved football team. Okay, so let's go to let's have a quick look at the weather. Hold on, no, I can't. You're not letting me. Lorraine says sleep through it. Okay, so get the crossing, but do the overnight and sleep through it. Difficult when you've got kids with you because they just want to go and play in the playground bit, and then go to the restaurant, and then they want to run about. But yes, that's what we did. We did get a cabin, and it's very exciting, very exciting. Mark, good morning. Good morning from Penella. Have a great day. Thank you, Mark and Anna Inns there, and thank you for your shouts on the radio show on Monday night, where we play Portuguese music. Well, music that's been inspired by your Portuguese adventure, or Portuguese music, and thank you for your wonderful suggestion of Great Heart by Johnny Clegg and Savuka. Hope you enjoyed that, Mark. And the parrots like it. Forma is nothing like Brit bread, just the shape. Okay, all right. It's a touchy subject, is bread. We have our favourites. Yeah, but yeah, the shape is there, isn't it? Is it the split tin loaf it used to be called? Or the one I associate with my grandmother, you know, that oblong loaf, and the blunt bread knife and the breadboard that has been used for 50 years or something. Amazing. And I'm sure my grandmother never had that problem of the breadboard smelling of garlic. I'm not sure if she ever used the stuff. Bon dia, Carl, from Frank. Our host on the Expat Sport Report. Bon dia, Carl, from him. Bon dia. I'm sure I'm going to extend that to everybody from the man like FD Devane. Alan Kerrigan, bon dia. Any ferries to Ireland from Portugal? Oh, that's a question, I believe. We've obviously got to go to Sean Maguire for the answer to that. Are there any ferries to Ireland and vice versa from Portugal? And yes, of course, such a shame not on this year, that Teignmouth festival that Pete enjoyed. We have some great little festivals here, says Sunny. So I'm going to do the weather now. Don't try and stop me. Lisbon, 20 degrees, rising to 28 day, a nice sunny day. 30 tomorrow, but cloudy. A cloudy day with some rain coming at the weekend in Lisboa, the capital. Porto, 20 degrees, partly cloudy at the moment, as it is in Lisbon, incidentally. Cloudy at the moment, but it will be a sunny day. Not so in Porto. 28 degrees in Porto, to the temperature to look forward to today and tomorrow, actually. But it will remain cloudy all week. So yeah, good week for gardening. Coimbra, this part of the country, central, 19 degrees, mostly cloudy, rising to a very humid 34 again. And we have temperatures in the 30s all week. Sunny day tomorrow. What's that on my arm? Oh, okay. It's just a burr. Sorry, I've been outside. Wasps have been biting me recently, and a hairy Mary appeared last night in the house. So there was a hairy thing on my arm. I was wondering what that was. Excuse me. 34 degrees to look forward to today in the Coimbra area. Cloudy, but a sunny day tomorrow. And then cloud like the rest of the country, it would seem. Faro, 22 degrees at the moment, partly cloudy. 27 to look forward to. 27 tomorrow. Cloudy day today, sunny day tomorrow, and wind on the way. Vento on the weekend. A bit windy at the weekend in Faro. Okay, so that's your weather for today. We will continue with the bread, the adventures in bread. Portugal. Did you see what I did there? However, before I go there, I need to share with you. Has anyone done that quiz yet? Let us know what your results were. Beatles or Stones, beer or wine, cash or card, which is your favorite, or are you a dog or a cat person? Had a bit of fun with that last night. Go to the first link, I think, in the comments for that. But yeah, the night before last, I had this inkling I thought to myself, we haven't had a Portuguese public holiday for ages. And I tell you, there is a Portuguese public holiday at least every month here, on average. I see that there is. I'm looking at the list now, and I'll probably share this on the Good Morning Portugal page or on my blog because it makes for good reading. Let me just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, we're into double figures. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 public holidays in Portugal. That's pretty generous and good, isn't it? And on the 7th of September, I thought to myself, hasn't been a public holiday for a while. You know, my intuition was kicking in, and I was wondering, I should look it up. And I didn't. And, you know, you shouldn't ignore your intuition, should you? And I didn't look it up. And then I decided to look it up last night or early this morning, whenever it was. And this is courtesy of expatica.com. So often these expat resources, they do their best to be accurate. But obviously, there's no better guide than a Portuguese one. But I couldn't find or understand the Portuguese one. So I got this expatica.com one, for which I'm grateful. And yes, my intuition was right. The 8th of September was indeed the Nativity of Mary. It's only celebrated in some regions, but yesterday was the Nativity of Mary, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Actually, I'll put those on the screen for you now so that you can make a note of the upcoming holidays whilst I tell you a little bit more about the Nativity of Mary. So there they are, ranging from, of course, the 1st of January, as you might expect, through to the 25th of December, and some others in there that you might not expect, like 3 public holidays in April. Of course, I suppose that's because of the Easter celebrations. But look at that, 3 in June as well, 3 in December, 15 public holidays at least. And then you may, of course, be blessed with a bonus public holiday of a local variety. Who knows? But very generous, and another great part of Portuguese life. Nativity of Mary is the feast that refers to the traditional birthday of Saint Mary. Although the exact day and date of her birth is unknown, it's traditionally celebrated on September the 8th. That is 9 months after the solemnity of her Immaculate Conception. Talking of what we celebrate as December 25th, of course. The Feast of Nativity of Mary is called in France as Our Lady of the Grape Harvest. Now, it was difficult to find more information about the Nativity of Mary, but I have a feeling, this is my intuition kicking in again, that obviously it's grape harvesting time here in Portugal, and then the connection may be made as well. The day is very important for French winemakers, so it might be for Portuguese winemakers as well. Traditionally, they bring to the local church the best grapes to be blessed there, and some branches of grapevine are attached to hands of the statue of Mary. So if you see that, if you're on tour in Portugal at the moment and you see that in a church, that grapevines or the best grapes have been attached to a statue of Mary, now you know why. The day ends with the festival that includes a meal of newly harvested grapes. So maybe yesterday in some Portuguese homes, among some Portuguese winemakers, they were celebrating the festivity, the Nativity of Mary, and getting the grapes blessed. So there you go. Now you know. And we need to find out, obviously, when the next holiday is going to be. September, October. 5th of October will be Republic Day. Oh, yes, a notable one. The Implantación de República, Republic Day, 5th of October. Maybe put that in your diary as well. Okay, any more comments? Actually, I need a sip of tea. Got to have a sip of tea every now and then on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Coffee or tea person, part of our psychological profiling. Oh, that's better. Whichever side of the Pennines, cup of tea, can't beat it. Yeah, but are you continuing that if you live in Portugal, or have you migrated to coffee? Excuse me a minute. Good heavens! Thank goodness I've got a cough switch. Right, a few more of you. What is a hairy Mary? I thought somebody might ask that. Linda, apparently, I'm going to come back to hairy Marys in a minute. Linda says Gary Austin is not a good sailor. She did plenty of Julio Potole. I don't know what that is, but I think it's the same thing as talking to God on the white telephone on a voyage. So maybe you prefer to fly or drive as much as possible there, Linda. Gary's your man for turns of phrase, colloquialisms, idioms. And we were thinking, actually, one of the things that came up last night on the Good Evening Portugal stream, just leaning back from my green screen, flaring there. is that we could have a showdown, a battle of the idioms and idiosyncrasies of the language. Who would win, the Portuguese or the English, with their funny turns of phrase? Bring it on. If you know enough about Portuguese idioms, presumably you'd be a Portuguese person doing that. Let's bring it on. Let's go head to head. English idioms versus Portuguese idioms and those funny turns of phrase. And I'm going to put forward Gary as our certainly as part of our team on that night. After 3 journeys on my own, says Ty, the northern Spain crossing loses its attraction. However, the drive to central Portugal is much better than I expected. So there you go. A bit more personal testimony from Ty. Yeah, and I guess we could expand that, couldn't we, to the best way to get from your country of origin. If you go back and visit and you come back to Portugal, what are your favorite routes for doing that? Lorraine says, we traveled this route for years. A pet-friendly cabin. Please ask Brittany Ferries. Enjoyable, except why do Brittany Ferries not allow dogs in luxury cabins? My Chihuahua is well behaved and trained. I suppose maybe because, you know, not all dogs are well behaved and trained or as tiny and portable as I love to say Chihuahua. I'm sure that's the proper Mexican pronunciation, but Chihuahua. I'm sure what is the name of your Chihuahua? Come on, Lorraine. People talk about their pets very personally here. So let's find out who that little lovely is, who is well behaved and trained. And thank you for that tip as well there, Lorraine. What is a hairy Mary? Okay. Morning, Shelley. The hairy Mary is, for some people, a terrifying insect. And I have a confession to make. Henry and Sunny were introduced to the hairy Mary and they and their family were quite unsettled by the sight of a hairy centipede, basically. And I'm sorry if this is making your flesh creep and making you feel uncomfortable, but Shelley did ask. Okay, so a hairy Mary likes a slightly damp situation. So the one I found last night was in the bathroom, understandably. But I have moved old furniture, kitchen furniture, to have one of these hairy things drop onto my arm. That's why I was a bit alarmed just now when I found a hairy thing on my arm. And so I thought, I'll look it up. Seriously, I mean, you're going to get a much better idea. I do have a video, actually, but I think I'm swearing on it, so I can't post it to Good Morning. Maybe I'll put some music on it to cover up my cussing and swearing. You know, that's all part of my surprise and discomfort in removing humanely, you know, like the glass and paper spider move that I did on this hairy Mary last night. And sent a picture to Henry, obviously, because he was especially unsettled by the hairy Mary that he encountered on his last visit to Portugal at our house. But what happened was, as I put the paper underneath the glass, I'm afraid to say a couple of the legs fell off and they kept on wriggling. It was like the Terminator, I tell you. And I'm not proud of it. I mean, you know, I was trying to handle it as gently as possible to take it outside. And I could see the window now that I put it out of, you know, last night. So it was okay. And it's probably like a lizard. I'm hoping that it can live without those legs. But to see those little hairy legs having come off in my maneuver, and they were still wriggling inside the glass, was pretty. I'm sure that's having an effect on a few of you now who may have even had to switch off. I don't know. But there you go. I hope that answers the question about the hairy Mary. Our forma has a flat top and is heavier, coated in seeds and escura, brownish. Okay, so the burnt forma. Bimbo, yes, the bimbo bimby bread is most like UK cheapo bread. So point of order accepted, chair. Yes, the bimby, if you really must have sort of mother's pride type bread, and why would you do that? I suppose, you know, there are moments, aren't there? You might want to make a bread and butter pudding with it, or you might want to make a toasted cheese sandwich or something like that. Make your own tush de mista. So you might go for the bimby bread. So yes, good call, good shout, absolutely right. So the forma escura, semente covered in seeds and has a brownish hue to it by the sound of it. So thank you for that. Sean, we asked Sean, any routes from Portugal to Ireland? None direct to Portugal that I know of, says Sean. So there you go. Thank you, Sean. The FD, Frank, breaking news from Manchester. Nurses have unanimously rejected their new Paisley uniform. Manchester remains red. Newsflash. But they've got to do something with all those jerseys, and the nurses have rejected them. Where to next with that consignment of Man City away strips? What should they do with them? I guess they might make quite nice J cloths, mightn't they, if they're ripped up? A bit of subject, but I think organising a coach trip in October and wondered, okay, brilliant. Pete, if you're organising something, Pete, I'm there because your skills and your passion for Portugal is legendary among these circles. I'm thinking of organising a coach trip, he says, in October, and wondered what listeners might suggest as an itinerary for a day out from Castanheira de Pera. Ooh, Alcobaça, maybe, Caldas de Reina, or both. A Silver Coast outing. I'm thinking, central Portugal, the mountains, on a coach. It's going to be like the Italian job, isn't it? We could reenact the Italian job, and pardon my French here, but do the bit. I only told you to blow the bloody doors off. I'm not sure. It's a bit like going back to seasickness, isn't it? You don't want to spend too much time on the mountains of central Portugal on the back of a coach. So maybe get away from central Portugal. Although Goish, like a Goish or Arganil River Beach vibe, those are my ideas. Please share with Pete what you think. And I'm up for that. Fake news. I don't know what he's saying that about, but it's probably something to do with Man City and Man United. Try Brittany Ferries. That's probably for the Irish crossing, I'm wondering. Thanks, Lorraine. Quiz says I'm a good person. So I think it's broken. It's not working, says Paul Williams. Thanks for trying that, Paul. I hope you found it fun. That's the main thing. And of course, you would have discovered at the end you're entrapped into subscribing to the blog or the YouTube channel. I had a message from the YouTube guys, the team at YouTube, telling me about my YouTube channel. I just need 300 and something members to go to 1,000. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you don't do YouTube, I'd be so grateful of your subscription. Once we get to 1,000, we can monetize the channel, and that's a nice little income stream coming in that is not too in your face and stops me going around with a digital begging bowl too much. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll look into that, Paul. I'll thank you for that destruction test of our quiz. The next holiday is the 5th of October to celebrate the Republic. Thanks, Philomena. We started to be a Republic on the 5th of October, 1910. Way ahead of the curve, some might say, in dispensing with the monarchy. But let's not open that can of worms or that can of hairy Marys. Oh my goodness, lots of lovely comments this morning. We may not get round to actually looking at the bread article. About bread, our local restaurant, or Pastor restaurant, produces traditional home stone oven baked bread daily. Ooh, and is really yummy. Both brown and white bread, fair size at €2 each. Doesn't that sound lovely? So, I mean, I think it is great to go off piste, away from the supermarkets, and get in the padaria or the restaurant that bakes its own like that and sells it to take away. Para levar, wonderful. Could you recommend a Learn Portuguese podcast on Spotify or YouTube? I could. I mean, as well as, I don't know, Philomena, if you do use podcasts or on Spotify or YouTube. I think your methods are a bit more traditional. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jesse, I do have a link for you. Let me pop that in the comments as well. We were talking to Mia Ejbirish recently. I do like her system, and she is quite technological. So I will pop that in. I think, and she does a free starter course as well. So let me just pop that link for you. Look at this one-to-one personal service that's going in there now for you and anybody else who would like to subscribe to a free Portuguese online system, learning European Portuguese, of course. And what I would say is mix it up. Go to as many sources as you can. I wouldn't stick with one. I mean, like, commit yourself to each one to some level, and there's nothing like one-to-one and a bit of extra help from somebody like Philomena. But I really enjoyed talking with Mia, and I think she has a great product there. I hope that helps. Only 8 in the car. Sorry, only 8 in the UK, but ours are... Oh, I see. This is public holidays. Only 8 public holidays in the UK, but ours are on Mondays. But Portuguese holidays can fall at the weekend. How does that work? Because Portuguese people never stop working, right? And they have a day off. That must be really nice if you're a Portuguese worker, a hardworking Portuguese person, and you want a day off at the weekend. You can be blessed like that with a public holiday. I think that's probably how it goes. And Philomena is our resident Portuguese person who might be able to answer that. If you come on here as a Portuguese person, you may be asked questions. Mark, oh, so we're talking to Anna here. Mark is a tea person, not managed to kick the habit. Me neither. And I'm surprised. I've said this before, but I'm surprised how used to I've grown to little English breakfast with UHT milk. And I'll have a sip of it now. No slurping here. Jeff, sorry, calling you George. Jeff Leyland. Hola, bon dia. Did I hear someone was in lockdown in Tavira? No, you didn't. That was, I think, a joke to suggest that. Maybe they were, but they won't be at the moment, Jeff. Yes, we've got to be careful saying things like that, haven't we? No, there is no lockdown in Portugal, okay? Just to put that straight. We were just joshing around, maybe not something we should joke about, as it turns out. And perhaps they were locked down in Tavira, or hope to be. Obviously, this has happened to quite a few people in Portugal. They did hope to return to the UK back in the spring and got locked down here. And some of them aren't complaining about that. Joe Johnson, my fave is Birmingham to Porto. Okay, so this is coming to and from. The flight from Birmingham to Porto with a lift from Thai from Porto to Massas de Dona Maria. That does sound like a really good transfer at the end there. And Thai will put his contact details in the comments to offer that and extend that service to others, I'm sure not. Mark Rigby, the Portuguese equivalent of it costs an arm and a leg. Okay, idioms and colloquialisms. Oh, we're learning so much. Sorry, I've just seen another comment which has thrown me a little bit. I'll come to that in a minute. The Portuguese equivalent of it costs an arm and a leg is it cost the eyes of the face. I think that's 1-0 to Portugal. Okay, in that battle, the Portuguese are 1-0 up with the eyes of the face there, and things that cost a lot. So yeah, you have that one, Portugal. We'll come back at you, and that's Mark, an Englishman. Dare I say that, a British person, let's say, to generalize that a bit, conceding that to the Portuguese, I think, honorably. In Hawaii, they are 10 inches long. Now, if I were on local radio, I would have started with that, and I'd have said, here's the answer. In Hawaii, they're 10 inches long. What is the question? We'll come back to that after. Who would we play? Boyzone. After Boyzone, the answer to that question. In Hawaii, they're 10 inches long. But what is 10 inches long? And we'll have Shelley on the phone to answer the question. Hairy Mary, centipedes are 10 inches long. But you know what you're dealing with, don't you, Shelley, when you're experiencing a 10-inch long centipede. I mean, the thing I'm guessing with a 10-inch long centipede is you can actually hear it approaching from about 10 meters away anyway. With a 10 inches long with 100 or so feet, that is going to make a bit of a noise. Whereas your hairy Mary is a stealthy creature. She just drops on you. He or she, hairy Mary, and understandably you would think she's quiet. She's low to the ground. She's real hairy. I mean, the hairiness might be a bit of sound insulation. You don't hear her coming. And, you move a bit of furniture and she drops on your arm. Stealthy. But thank you for that that natural history update from Hawaii, Shelley. And, it's all relative, isn't it? And, I did see one of the, was it an oil beetle? A hell of a thing. And some of those black centipedes do grow to, I think, 4 or 5 inches long in Shelley. But Hawaii has it there. Hawaii also goes 1-0 into the lead on the natural history side. Always remember, Carl, it's always darkest just before it goes completely black. I can't remember what I said to prompt that comment, but we will have that as thought for the day. Okay, we don't do thought for the day usually, and it's a fine broadcasting tradition is thought for the day, and that today, Gary Austin in Alvazra, contributor to the show, regular contributor in all sorts of ways to the show, God bless him, is sharing this with us today. Always remember, everybody, it's always darkest just before it goes completely black. Okay, I suspect a colloquialism, an idiom as well. And the firemen tie their pants at the bottom cuff so it doesn't run up their legs. Again, what is the answer to that question? It's such a good. Sorry, what's the question? Because there's the answer. Why do firemen tie their pants at the bottom of the? But I'm thinking of doing that here. I've got to say, I'm thinking of. It's difficult when you're wearing shorts, and it looks really odd, doesn't it, to have baler twine at the top of your shorts and around each leg cuff, as you say there. But I do think I need to wear longer trousers in the fields as I toil in the fields here. And certainly, after the recent wasp sting, the swelling has gone down, nurse. But that was painful. And it got kind of swollen. Yeah, no, I was going to say I was going to wear gloves, but it stung me through the gloves. Okay, we've got a lot of threads alive here on the show this morning. To get a pet cabin, we had to book a year ahead. Come the 1st of January, I could see the demand falling off. Good heavens. And this is a lot more humane. I remember the days when you put your dog in a cage on the on the car deck. My dear old Olive, when we went from over to Ireland, and there were a lot of dogs on the car deck because obviously people are transporting their racing dogs, I think they were, as well as pets. So it was really busy. And dear old pets, down there in the clanking bowels of the ship. So it sounds like things have come a long way. Cheese on toast with ketchup, exactly. So there is somebody who's bringing together. I see what you did there, Alan Kerrigan. You've brought together bread. And the answer, are you a red or brown sauce person? And probably expat stuff you miss, like cheese, all into one pithy comment. Very good, sir. I'm in, says Owen Lloyd Martin. I can't remember what is that? There are too many threads. I can't keep up. But whatever it was, he's in. Ty, I think we need a bread tasting group to get you better informed. Lol. Former is not burnt. I didn't say burnt. I said browned, and it was Joe who said brown on top. And I did guess that the browning was coming from the oven. Why is it brown then? Come on, tell me. By the way, here we go. Pan de forma escura is because the word pan is masculine. Excellent. Escuro with the O for masculine. We are learning so much this morning. We're reaching information overload. I am, but I'm not complaining. There's usually Rosler to Bilbao crossing. So there you go. That's the nearest. Don't know whether it's working at present. Certainly the Portsmouth to Bilbao crossing has been suspended at present. And there's me pronouncing Bilbao in a Portuguese way. Bilbao. A trip to the coast, something like the Fools and Horses trip to Margate. That's what Owen is in. The Castanera de Pera coach trip. Just like the old Charabang trips or the Only Fools and Horses trip to Margate. Trip to the coast, Silver Coast. I think we're gathering movement and energy towards a trip to the coast. Silver Coast from Castanera de Pera. That sounds wonderful. Bon dia, Carlos, from Henry Jeffries. Talking about you and Hairy Mary's, Henry. There's the link to the Learning European Portuguese with Mia. Can't handle wheat. What wheat? Great question. We're not going to get round to going to James Cave's guide. We've got our own going on here this morning. I can't handle wheat. What wheat-free breads are available? Preferably a sourdough. I don't think sourdough is big. It probably is in the metropolitan areas, where trendy hipster things are occurring because they need something to smear their avocado onto, obviously, in the trendier parts of Porto and Lisboa. Now, that I'm sure somebody will answer that question. The rye bread is available in Lidl, the go-to of many. If in doubt, check out Lidl. You can buy the rather unattractively plastic wrapped rye breads in Lidl. That's the best I can tell you at the moment. Jeff, we don't change the dates of our holidays. In fact, people are not very happy when a holiday is at the weekend. Okay, especially on a Sunday because you just lose it. Okay, so yes, your intuition was right there, Ty. The reason it would seem it's on a Sunday, of course, is because it's the same date of the year, and then if that falls on a Sunday, as Philomena says there, local people are not happy because they were off anyway. Thank you for settling that, Philomena. Mark is right. Os olhos de cara. And again, I don't know what that is referring to. Mark Rigby. Os olhos de cara. Oh, the eyes of the face. Marvelous. Really good stuff. So much going on this morning. And nope, they are silent. Oh, okay. The quiet 10-inch centipede. The stuff of nightmares. Thanks for that, Hairy Mary video last night, mate. My pleasure. Just before you were going to bed. Did you sleep well? Julie Marsh, good morning from the Marshes. Julie, I have to say to you, we were talking, when we went on our Good Morning Portugal Wine Club Wine Ninja foray into Coimbra, leaving no trace apart from a few empty bottles last Sunday in Coimbra at Acamponhesa. Paulo at Acamponhesa was talking about how Matius Rosé is viewed in the wine trade in Portugal, and he could not sing enough of its praises. And he said the moment for Matius Rosé, as it is understood and enjoyed in Portugal, is ice cold by the swimming pool. So you are so on trend, so ahead of the curve there with your penchant for the Matius. And, you know, as we've said before, it has become the subject of some derision in the UK among wine snobs, and that was properly trashed. And rightly so, I'm sure you'd agree, on Sunday night by our wonderful host, Paulo. And it's all about context and time and place. Ice cold by the pool. Good morning to you, Julie. Hi there, and bon dia. What's the subject today? Jonathan, where have you been? Let me just recap for you. 10-inch centipedes, bread, ferries, flights, Thai picking you up from Porto Airport, the eyes of the face, idioms, idiosyncrasies, learning Portuguese. Is there anything I missed? Anybody? Let's bring Jonathan up to date. Good morning to you, mate. Banded centipede is far more concern. That's in Portugal, is it, Gary? Bread. Bolo de cacao is the best. Okay, that was the one we talked about yesterday, mixed up with sweet potato, I believe, sweet potato powder, because in Madeira that's easier to find than wheat sometimes, or they make the wheat go further with the sweet potato flour, or maybe mashing up sweet potato into it. Mash up! It's the one I've seen used as a good burger or garlic bread accompaniment. Jenny from Belgium, bon dia. Today are the first class lessons. Okay. But I also ordered the course from Mia. How have you found it? Do let us know. You know, it's obviously my choice, and we are affiliates of Mia's system. And, you know, we were widely impressed with her when she came on the show. But what's the course like from your point of view, Jenny? Do let us know. Alcabasa, Nazaré, San Martino de Porto, Foz de Obidos. On what in one day, Gary? That would be adventurous, but more intel there for Pete. Did you say little? He pricked his ears up at that moment. Damn it, I'm late. Bon dia, everyone. Don't worry, Eugene McCrossan. You can always catch this on YouTube. I guess, you know, there's a lot of fun in being here on time from the start because of all the lovely comments and crossfire, conversational crossfire. So good morning to you, YouTube. But don't worry, you can always catch it as a YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube or as a podcast, of course, on Spotify. I've posted Forma Escura on Happy Homesteaders. Thank you so much, Joe. That's so thoughtful. I can't wait to have a look and find out just how wrong I've been this morning. And for the coach trip, let's leave it here for the time being, Pete. I hope this has been helpful. It's been a lot of fun today. Didn't even get round to looking at the Portugalist guide to bread. We've done our own. But for the coach trip, I highly recommend Nazaré. Daughter visited for 2 weeks, and we embarked on various day trips. Or wine tasting tour of the Douro Valley would be fun, wouldn't it just? And we would, again, bringing up Paula, he was talking about a helicopter flight through the Douro Valley. That is the classiest and most expensive way. You can do it by rail, you can do it by boat, you can do it by car, but helicopter, how about that? Flying through the Douro Valley in a helicopter, looking at the vineyards. Might be a bit of a stretch. It's a lot of time on the coach, I would have thought, from Castellano de Pera to the Douro Valley, but a great suggestion nonetheless. And the high risk, it was a bit of a high risk strategy going to Nazaré because, of course, if you're there just for the day, you may be greeted by fog that doesn't clear with Nazaré. But you can have a nice day on the beach, roll up your trouser legs and put a handkerchief on your head and sit there in the fog. Still be nice. And I remember a lovely restaurant there, family restaurant, that I would like to go to again. So, yes, all of those I'm up for. And, yeah, hope that helps, Pete. Bon dia from Rita Adonis. Good morning to you, Rita. How are you today? Tudo bem? Should I say, como estás, to be a bit more polite and formal with you on this, our first conversation, I think. Any of those, but not all of them. Yeah, fair play, Gary. So, Silver Coast, I think we're leaning towards the Silver Coast here. Pete, do keep us informed of your plans. So let's leave it there this morning. Thank you so much, everybody, for speaking so freely, fully, and funnily with these various threads. Portuguese bread will continue. Portugal is not called Portugal for no reason. Well, it's called that by me anyway. Let's see if that catches on. Word of the day, aldeia, which is village. And have a good one. Oh, and this is going to be a word of the day. To fija. Now, I have found out recently, fija means cool. Are you saying I'm cool, Rita? Or that you're cool in answer to my tudo bem from me? I'm learning every day a little bit of Portuguese, but I love that word, and that is going to be word of the day maybe tomorrow. I think we should include that, fija. And I first heard that on Canal Panda. So I watch children's TV in Portuguese because I find it a good way to learn, obviously, and with the children they can learn as well. But Canal Panda, good fija, and that's where I first heard it. So fija, tu fija. Oh, you're not saying no? I'm saying I'm cool. Slightly disappointing end for me. I thought somebody was calling me cool, but in fact, Rita, you're saying you're cool. I have to agree with you, Rita. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to your company tomorrow. So, até próxima, até amanhã, até já. Beijinhos, abrazos. It's pronounced like fish. Fish.